What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channels. Thank you so much for taking some time in your day to listen to what I gotta say. I really hope I can bring you some value with this video. I would appreciate if you gave it a like, maybe comment for the algorithm, and I appreciate that a ton. Let's get right into this video. I wanna talk about what foods you need to be avoiding to lose weight. So if you were expecting a long list of foods, you've come to the wrong place, because I have no list. I have 0 foods I'm gonna tell you to not eat. You can eat whatever the fuck you want. As long as it hits your calories, you will still lose weight. As long as you are in a calorie deficit. I feel like a broken record, but I'm not just gonna bullshit you. I'm not gonna tell you a bunch of random stuff, make my content all so different for no reason when that's not gonna get you results. The calorie deficit is what's gonna make you lose weight. The foods you eat to make that calorie deficit don't really matter, okay? They do to a certain extent, and I'll talk about that later, but to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. If you ate donuts and got there, you'd still lose weight. Of course, that's not healthy, not filling, probably gonna be unsustainable, but that's the laws of thermodynamics, and I really want to emphasize that and nail that in your head. I don't want you to demonize foods. You can eat anything and lose weight. Now that you know you don't have to avoid any foods to lose weight, there are, of course, better choices than others, okay? So I want you to focus on eating more of these foods and less of other foods, but you don't need to cut anything out completely. That is why most diets fail. They're so restrictive. They're cutting out all these foods, all their favorite foods. Why do you want to do that to yourself when you don't need to? Like, enjoy your diet. You're eating all the time. Eating is a big part of life. What do you think happens at weddings, parties? Food. Yeah, you don't need to cut anything out, okay? I don't want you to think like that. That's a bad mindset. I want you to be like, okay, most of my diet's gonna consist of this and then a little bit of this. That's perfect. Like, it's so sustainable if you do this. I don't want you to have the mindset where you can't eat certain foods. That is why most diets fail. Trust me, I did that and it was so terrible. So I want to talk about foods that are not ideal when trying to lose weight. Okay, just foods that you should probably eat less of. Don't need to cut them out, but just eat less of, because they're just not going to be ideal for a few reasons. First of all, these foods are not filling. That is a main reason why people can't stick to their calorie deficit. They're eating food that is not filling at all, and you're just going to be starving throughout the day when you don't actually need to be. Okay, they're not filling. They're also very high calorie. Very, very high calorie. They're eating these non-filling, high calorie foods. No shit, it's gonna be hard to stick to your calorie deficit. Okay, they're low in protein, so protein is the most filling macronutrient, and that's what you wanna have the most of, so you're not having that. And also they're low in fiber, not getting a lot of fiber, so these foods are just not ideal to lose weight. Now, some examples of these foods. Ice cream, okay? Regular ice cream, like Chapman's strawberry ice cream. You could probably finish the tub. I know you could, I could easily. Doesn't really fill you up at all. Here's another example, chips. Chips are by far one of the worst foods to have on a diet, especially for myself. You can end up eating the whole bag. Chips do not take up a lot of room in your stomach. They're not very filling, but they pack a huge caloric punch. They're just fucking you in the face with the amount of calories they got. I know they taste amazing. I love chips. I love Miss Vicky's salt and vinegar chips. But it's just very, very difficult to eat on a diet. I do squeeze them in sometimes if I'm having a craving, but other than that, I try and stay clear of them most of the time because they are my weakness, and I will end up having the bag, and next thing I know, I wake up and I'm in a 5,000 calorie surplus after devouring 2 bags of Miss Vicky's salt and vinegar chips. Sour Patch Kids, candy, it's not filling at all. You can just keep eating it. The only reason you're gonna stop eating is probably because your tooth gets sore or you just get sick of it, but you're not actually full. When have you been full off candy? Sour Patch Kids. You haven't. I know you haven't. You can keep eating that forever, and that's the type of food people are eating so much of, and that's why they're gaining so much weight, and they're wondering why they can't stick to their diet, and they're like, why am I not losing weight? They're like, they eat healthy throughout the day, healthy, whatever the fuck that means, throughout the day, and then they have a massive bag of Sour Patch Kids at night as their cheat meal or something. And they have so much of it, it puts them out of their calorie deficit for the day. This is also why I'm not a huge advocate of cheat meals, because you can go so overboard with these meals if you don't properly count the calories. If you just think, oh, I ate healthy most of the day, I'm gonna have this one meal that's, not super healthy. You could go crazy overboard. You have no idea. Now, what should your diet consist of? Mostly, like I already touched on, high protein foods. Okay, protein is the most filling macronutrient there's protein, carbs, and fats. You want to have a lot of protein. I usually recommend 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein. The sources that you get it from are really up to you. I'm my personal ones. I love chicken. I love turkey. I love whey protein shakes. I use that to make my protein ice cream which I will link up wherever here. You guys can make that ice cream. I love Greek yogurt. You know, sometimes I have little protein bars. Those aren't too filling, but you want to make sure you're getting in foods with high protein. Usually protein at every meal is ideal. You don't have to, but that is ideal to keep you really, really full. Also, the key is eating very high volume foods. Okay, a good example of this is Smartpop popcorn. I know you're probably thinking popcorn's like a junk food typically. It's actually not. Like, I don't like the word junk food anyway, but popcorn is extremely voluminous. It takes a lot of room in your stomach for not that many calories, especially if you get the Smartpop. I always talk about that on my TikToks. I highly recommend you get Smartpop. I don't think it's available to Aussies or the Brits. Sorry, there's gotta be alternatives there though. But the Americans, Canadians like myself, you guys should definitely hop on the Smartpop. It tastes amazing. Put some salt and vinegar seasoning on it, and it's gonna fill you up for not that many calories. So imagine like switching out Miss Vicky salt and vinegar chips for your popcorn. Obviously it doesn't taste the exact same, but it does taste good. It kind of tackles that, you know, crunch craving you've got, and you're not going overboard in calories. A bowl of popcorn could be maybe 200 calories, and a bowl of chips 700. And the popcorn more filling for less calories. So it's a clear-cut choice here. Now, this doesn't mean you don't have to eat the chips, like I already talked about. You don't have to cut them out completely, but you know, you should opt more so for the popcorn majority of time. Okay, if you're really craving the chips, you know you can fit them in, but they're not gonna be ideal for sticking to your calorie deficit. That's just a fact. So in summary, you know, avoid the majority of times these high calorie, very not filling, not taking a lot of room in your stomach foods, and stick with more high protein, very voluminous, very filling foods that are gonna keep you full throughout the day. And make sure you don't binge eat or be craving food all the time. Your stomach's gonna be satisfied and you're not like, oh my God, I'm starving. Why is this not working? I'm only in a little deficit. Why am I so hungry? The reason is probably your food choices, okay? So, you know, most of your diet should consist of these high volume foods, but if you wanna fit in a chocolate bar or something like that, perfectly cool, okay? Don't think you gotta cut out anything. You got to make it very sustainable. So if you're craving a caramel bar, which I do on occasion, that's my favorite, I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna fucking have it because I really want it, and I will make sure, you know, I plan for that in my calories. Maybe I'll drink a lot of water right before to make sure I'm, you know, more full. There's a lot of little tricks you guys can do to keep more full, and I'm gonna make a full video on staying more full on a deficit. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming in, taking in some information I'm talking about. I want to give you applicable shit, not just random ass information that most people give you. It's so annoying. Anyway, I hope you got some value from this. If you do, like it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.